Hello there, Ralph here, Ralfy Customs. Time for another vlog. Regular viewers will remember, or will have seen, that we're just jiggering up this Triumph motor to make a nice rigid frame out of it, and we'd got as far as starting to make the bosses that fit into the axle plate things. Axle adjuster pull boxes, and they held them on that rear part of the jig like that, so we've got the back end. The headstock's all lined up and in place. I'll double check that, but that's about where it's going to be. And the motor's backwards and forwards about right this way, but we need to centralise it excuse me, and check the drive line is going to hit with the fucking sprocket, the imaginary rear sprocket. We need to make sure the chain's lined up. So that's the state of play with that. However, we've digressed because we have a recommission job on the cards. So I've not long picked this up at the weekend and put a new battery on it, put some fuel in it, fired straight up. Happy days. It stood for a few years, I think. I've not checked it. Bought it off my best friend in all the world. So when I say bought, I mean that term loosely as well, bless him. So what we need to do is get it MOT'd and fucking roadworthy, and then we can sit the accountant on the back there and see if she falls in love with it. Because for me, although it's a stocker, which is just like, what? The last stock bike I had that I loved was an XJR 13, and that had a 4-1 little belly pan. I know about it. It was stock apart from that, pretty much. Seat were lowered because I'm a short arse. And I loved it. I went everywhere on it, like, take you anywhere. And I'm hoping this fills that void of just to jump on, ride it around, do what you like with it, and when you clean it, you're cleaning it with an oily rag. That's what I'm after, you know. I've got show bikes. I've got things that are really precious. And I think this might just be the next tool, if you like, and ride it just for what it is. A fucking solid old 1100cc fucking sports tourer, like. Muscle bike, ain't they? Got a lot of full. Wicked. So with it came some spares. Some spares, he says. Fucking hell. We've got someone's made a 4-1 exhaust. Sorry, a 4-2 exhaust system with these short little cans. Brown were raving about these. He fucking thought they looked sexy. The guy that he got it off, he bought the engine off as well, and he'd spent over 10 grand building this fucking performance bike, this Street Fighter thing out of it, and then ended up breaking it for some reason. I'm not sure what, like. I know this motor runs sweet, but it jumps out of second gear sometimes, which is a known fault. So that needs fixing if you're going to use that engine, and if you bother by all that shizzle, like. Spare set of carbs come with it, and then various things including brackets for those short exhausts and some black CNC alloy rear sets. Now there's also fucking coils and bits and bobs. There's a clutch, there's casings, there's Brown's like me. If he's got it and it needs it, he won't fuck about. There's a starter and a starter clutch there, because the starter clutches get noisy. And I guess eventually they may stop working. Oh, and there's a set of standard risers, because it's got fatter bars on. I was wondering if if there was anything like that about, because it's got Renthols on that are wider. They're inch at the base or something like that. And someone's fucked about with the risers, but there's the stock ones. That's really good. Yeah, so what I don't want to do, I mean, I can fit these, and I can use one of these holes to fit some black CNC rear passenger pegs, you know, it's no bigger. Fit the exhaust, but I don't want to do that unnecessarily. So we're going to see how it sits. I know from running it up that it's a bit fucking quiet for me, to be fair. I don't know what that is. Who knows what that is? Is it a vacuum breather fucking thing? No. Is it going here? Fuck knows. Don't know about that sort of thing. But there you go. So that's a nice little package. It's almost a fucking... If you had a front end and a back end... Ain't it? I've got a set of forks. Not those. Those are the Triumph ones. Behind that, there's a set of Suzuki forks and yokes. And there's a Suzuki wheel up on the roof. So, you know, we need a back wheel. Only. And a load of fucking about. And we could do a bit of a fucking bike out of it if we wanted. Righto. So, first job to free off these sticky calipers. Now, that's not good. That's fucked, isn't it? I've got new pads and a new disc coming for the rear because that's got quite the lip on it. I bet it's down to minimum. It's stamped on it somewhere. Minimum thickness 5.5. Yeah, let's have a measure. Front ones are fucking great. They're in good condition. But again, they're a bit sticky dicky. So what I'm going to do is take the caliper off, take the pads out, and then I'm going to give them a pump like to push the pistons together and then clean them up best I can without stripping them down is my plan. Give them a bit of looby-dooby-dooby and a clean up and then push them apart again and then work them in, work them out, work them in, work them out. Build it all up with a bit of fucking anti-seize, the old anti-struggle grease light. And Bob's your answer. Right, I'm not going to lie. Things became a little more involved. My camera's jerky through the viewfinder as I'm recording this. We move around a bit, try not to get dizzy. We've had to clean stuff and service stuff off camera because I wanted to get it on get on with it. So we have been busy. Look, there's a black hand gang, what my mum used to call me, will attest to. So we've already serviced the rear brake. New pads and disc are on the way, but we still needed to lubricate these sliders and free off the dual piston setup. Like that rubber's not gone back on there very well, has it? If we can get back on there. There you go. Thank you very much. Right, so that's ready to fit new stuff when it comes. In the meantime, the brake's quite serviceable. Moving to the front, we have undone these bad boys, ready to take it off, and we need to take, I believe, we need to take these little screws out. Focus. There's one there, and there's one at the top, that blurry thing there. And I've sprayed a bit of magic spray on, and that one's come undone lovely. And that fucking top one's not. No surprise. So, what I'll do is, I'll undo these bolts proper. Quite a fine thread, I know. Yeah, we'll have these out properly. I'll have the caliper off in my hand. If I can. Come on. Come on. Come on, you bastard. I might have to take that out. So I've got a bit more to play with. You can see that's tight on the fucking disc. Well, there we go. Thank you very much. Now we'll look at how we can remove those pads that actually they don't look too bad. Now I'm sure there's a little pin there that holds them in, but it's a dead end and you can't knock it through, so you must have to put a clamp on it and tap it that way when you come to change the pads. I'm not too fussed about that today because I'm not changing the fucking pads, so I think I'm going to put a screw back in and we'll not say anymore. And then I'm going to get my pry bar in, and I'm going to wedge apart those two pistons as far as they'll go, and then I'm going to pump them back together again and repeat, and giving it a little spray of the old magic GT85. Fucking hell, it's like WD-40 on steroids, this shit. So, because I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to get that, excuse me, save a bolt. I worked for a bloke once and he told me off for leaving rivets or something on the floor, and he said if every one of them was £1 note, because we didn't have coins back then, you wouldn't leave them on the floor. And that kind of stayed with me. So, yeah, pick that fastener up. Oh, I fucking so want to free that off. Well, they're dead free. They really move easy, them pads. So, maybe just a bit of anti-slip. A bit of magic spray in there. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what we can do. Right, so, again, off camera, we had a wrestle and a tussle and a fucking hustle and a bustle. Managed to get both of these screws out, and the pin's just out in with a little circlip, and then it comes out. It's easier if you can get this cover off. The other side, I've not fucking got the cover off the other side, so I've took the screws out and took the clip off here, and then I've gone up inside, and what I do is jam a screwdriver in the pads, one end, and let the other end go, and then force it back a couple of times, and then swap ends and do the other end, so it squashes the pad. The pistons come out the other end of the caliper, and with a knack you can work your way around and work all 4 pistons without stripping it down. When the new pads come, the pads that are in it are fine, are perfectly serviceable, but I don't know how long they've been in there. Probably years, like, and I'm sure they'll be all right. But for the sake of a set of pads, I've ordered some. So when they come, I've got the other side I can fucking do, because I've had it apart completely. This side, I'm going to have to try and get these screws out. So wish me luck with that. In the meantime, the brakes are freed off. There's no stickage. I've had the front wheel up in there, and you can spin it and lock it and spin it and lock it and spin it. So that's fucking hunky-dory. I think what I got to do next is look at the headset bearings, because Brown said they weren't right. And I'm going to bleed the brakes through. So I'm going to drop it down a bit, and I'm going to just pump fresh fluid through the brakes, like. Right, we're nearly there. So we have serviced the brakes. You're not seeing any of this shit, have you? But this is what I've been busy with. New disc and pads are on the way. New pads are on the way. Everything that's on there is still serviceable. I'm just belting braces, like, because it's new to me. The handlebars are off because I've checked the headset bearings, because Brown said they felt a bit notchy, but they feel smooth as it stood there. And I'll see what happens when I take it for a test ride in a little bit. So we have cleaned and fettled. We've recommissioned with a new battery, fresh fuel. We've topped the oil up. Yeah, I don't know if you can see it in there. But I've got oil and filter on the way, so it needs a run and then a change. I'll get the handlebars back on. Get it off this fucking ramp. And then it's just a fresh petrol job. Take it for a Ministry of Transport inspection, an MOT test at my local MOT centre. Then we need to tax the fucker, don't we? Then we pay road tax. Never ending, this shit. And then we're on the road with it. We'll try our girt on the back. Lisbeth, bless up. See if she finds it comfortable, and all the rest of it, like, smiles for miles is what I'm hoping, like. And I don't know if this will pick up on it's all the cleaning products and the oil and stuff that I've sprayed all over everything is slowly smoking its way off. Now that I've had it running again, let's just crack it up for it. Neutral's on, runs on. There we fucking go. Happy with that. Still a little bit cold, so I'm just giving it a little bit of choke. lights are on. Why are they on? So, yeah, happy days. Right, and now we're going to go and get some petroleum because there's one garage that does E5. Turn that shit down. E5, which is like petrol, near enough. That E10 I'm not a fan. And neither are most of my vehicles, well, the petrol vehicles. These are ones that don't give a shit about it. Well, see me fucking petrol because they don't use it. So that's it. I'm off. Off we go into the bright fucking blue yonder. Righto, boys. So we abandoned fucking ship yesterday. Wanted to get some petroleum for the vehicles from the only garage around here that actually sells petrol instead of moonshine and fucking grease or whatever they make it out of. So the traffic was that fucking bad. I abandoned ship. I did a U-turn on the main road and fucked off home basically. So we're up early and we're going to cross town once I get out of the yard and go and fucking get some petrol from this garage, right? Then we'll be back at the workshop. So I'll see you back there. Hey, righto, boys, we're in. Time for a quick bit of the old crispy bacon. Ain't it? Not had this for a bit. Oh, not videoed this for a bit. We had this last Saturday. There you go. Happy days. Righto. So, we got a petrol. Fucking hell, what a game that was. Right, and we made our buses, and these sit in there, right, inside. They go inside here, look. They drop in there and sit in them slots. I can't do it one-handed, I don't think. Come on, for the camera. Come on, for the camera, go on. There you go. They sit in there, look. Right. Like that. And then they sit like that. Well, what's that way? Yeah, with a spacer. And the standard spindle is 270 between the outside and the hub. Standard hub is 270. Yeah. We've got 60mm for this, so that leaves 210, which is 105 each side. But we're going to go 3mm extra. We're going to go 6mm wider because without exception, no matter what I do, when I weld the frame up, they go in a bit. So we're going to start off with it 6mm wider, and it'll pull that much, you know. So we're over here at the lathe again, and I've cut some bits of fucking top tube, backbone light, and we're going to face that up to 108mm long, which you don't need to see. Okay, fucking dokey. So these are now, what did we say they were? Standard 270. Yeah, 276 apart. Focus. Yep. And the sat level. And with the engine there, they're about the right distance. The headstock, I need to fucking proper double check because Andy's forks are an inch shorter than mine, by the looks of it. So the headstock's throwing me off a little bit. But I've set it 35 degrees on the angle of the dangle. 35 degrees, and we've run through until we're 28.5 off this bench, which represents the bottom of the frame. Yep. So that'll give him 6.5 ground clearance at the front, 6 inch at the back. When he's going down the road, it'll sit about level. That's the way I look at it. Maybe an inch at the front higher, but you don't really need an inch. So I'm going to double check the angle of the dangle. I don't see it can be fucking wrong. Let's get my ankle finder look. So here we've got this set 35-ish, maybe 36. I'm not worried about 1 degree. There we go. So it sits on there. That can only be what it is like, you know. and then it fucking follows through. So yeah. 34.8. We ain't bothered about that. 35 mil at 35 degrees. That's my standard fucking angle of the dangle. So I know that's right. I know this distance is right. We just need to now get the motor in the mignal, down the middle, and then we'll run a line off this to where the sprocket comes here, which I've made a note of. We also need to stand the engine up at the front so the writing's level, because it's just leaning forward a little bit at the minute. And then we're going to make a little cage round it with these fucking angle line sprags, look, like that, in various places to stop it fucking moving on us until we get this box across with the rails and the fucking back mounts, like so. Yeah, that's the most trickiest bit for me, is holding the fucking engine where it needs to be. I did think about turning it completely upside down and making a little subframe that traps, like, you know, that fits tight on everything here, and then you can skate it around on that with bits of plate out and stuff for it. So it's a sump-shaped fucking mould, if you like. And go from there, but you'd end up with 100 of them, wouldn't you? The mould might be slightly different and all the rest of it, so don't know. I never really got into that. It does make sense to me now, like, that might be the way to go. In the meantime, we're going to take this old ghetto for its MOT. I don't mind admitting, it's bastard freezing, so I'm going to get some modern clothes on and try and stay warm. I'll do a Mr. Ben and change into motorcycling gear, which is far from my favoured attire, like, but I'm not prepared to be cold and wet. And I've got good gear in the fucking orifice, like, so I'll get changed up, get this warmed up and get fucked off to the MOT place. Yeah, so here we go. In keeping with the great British rainmaking fucking hell, rainmaking techniques, routines, don't know what you call them now, it's gone, but it's a wetting. Back from the inspection, no dramas, ritual, rainmaking ritual. We get a motorbike out and it pisses it down, that's what we do. Or rub a car, my missus says. Whenever you polish your car, it rains. Yeah. Start raining, she's like, you've been rubbing stuff again. I'm like, well, no more than normal. So, inspection went well, everything's cool. We've got this propped up now so that it sits level, sits square at the back. It's flat at the back along here, look. 10 mil up the front. Your 10 mil fucking bar, flat stock. And that sits right, double checked. The Eckenbecker, you saw the angle of the dangle's right. We'll get these readings 0 once. I just need, so I've got, this has got a bit of movement in it, I think. I need to double check that measurement to the back's the same. This, like, both sides, so that's sitting square, and to the front, do the same. Double check. And that should be golden. So, we'll get the engine centred and square. Again, we find a reference point. Maybe those engine mounts are equally distant or something, you know. We'll go off these ones to the front and measure and do to make sure everything's fucking cool. And now we can go from there. Right, I'm going to try and explain the lining up process. You'll see there's a string, centre string, runs off the centre of this post to the top of the headstock there, and we use that to line up. I'll try and catch it on camera there, look, with the middle of the motor. See at the back of the motor there's a stud, that's the middle. This front one, the top there, that's throwing me off a little bit because it wants to be like that. So what we do is we try and find a central point at the front, in this case these engine mounts, and we drop down square with a square look, okay, off these and measure to the edge of the plate, the edge of the bench, 96 millimeters. Yeah, if you measured across them and then measured the bench, split the difference, you'd have 96 mil each side. So that is a second check for centralisation. Then we find a flat, straight, best we can kind of edge, and in this case I'm looking at this bottom of this sump, look. So this ain't gospel, because sometimes they're out. Look, this one dips away there, like, so we ignore that bit and we put a bit of tube against it. Not like that, look. And then we measure from the edge of this to the edge of the table, both sides. Yeah, double check, triple check, that is. Finally, we mark from the axle plate to the outside of the sprocket, 15 mil in this case. We make a line, and then we put a string on the sprocket, and we move it side to side until it just comes off, till it just leaving company. Yeah, somewhere about there. And then we look and we're on. That engine is now in the middle of the chassis, the chain's in line, and the job's a good one. So what we do is I go around with these sprags now, these fucking bits of box section, and I pen it in, look. If I can tuck them under like that one, I do, because it can get in the way. Yeah, and we do it front and back and one each side. And then what I do is I'll come in and I'll touch the bottom of the engine and I will measure this gap. I'll do the same the other side, and we'll pick a winner. In this case, that one is going to come out more, but it'll come out the same as that one is, and that'll be the middle of the frame that will then step out for the back to go to these, like, to come. So it'll come down here, bend flat to the table, and then cock over and join a bit of box section here, like, where the join will be with a big slug in it. Happy days. That's the plan. Righto, so, fucking hell. I didn't film it because it's just tedium. Tedium is the word. So we have got hose level, obviously. Yeah, sitting lovely. That's why I machined that on. So I can use that on there to make these slots level. And they don't have to be perfectly level. They just have to match each other. So the wheel ain't pissed up, like. It's not simple, not rocket science, is it? Right, so I've got the motor finally situated, level. Use this through the top mount, look, with a bubble on. Put that angle finder, not a bubble, on it. Measured down from here and then across. So we squared down, measured across, got that equally distant. Checked that the chain, the drive line, falls within near as fuck it is to swear in, because it's not running on a bit of fucking solid stock, it's a chain. And got the fucking plumb line, the string. Look, if you look right up the top, at the fucking top of the headstock, I'll try and show you all the way through, next bit down to the top of the rocker box. There's a bump there, just there. Then the back of the motor, there's a stud there, and then onto there, like so. That is that. We're all spragged, we've got bits welded here, there, and every fucking way, like, to keep everything in true. I'm not going to shake it, but it's where it needs to be. So, next on the agenda is this. We'll clean all this shit away and start fresh. We'll pull the table out with a pipe bender on. I might even bring it in the tent, like, you know, set it up over there. And we put that on. We measure it, give ourselves a bit of gap off the fucking sump. like that. Yeah, measure what that needs to be, and we'll mark a line. We'll do the same the other side, and then we'll work out the bit of box section that goes between the two, and we'll put that in place and tack it to the bench, and then we can work from there. So that's what we're going to do. Right, so that's that. This blue bench behind all the shizzle here is what I'm on about. It needs to come in. So we'll bring that in. And as an aside, like I said, we took this fucking specimen for its inspection today and it passed no dramas. So that's that. I'm just debating what's going on out there. Yeah, I think that'll be staying here until it dries up a bit. So there you go. I'm going to get set up, get that bench moved in there, and get some tubing fucking sorted and done, and everything's ready to rock and roll on that frame. If you want to see the progress of that, then please give me a sub. Yeah, you won't miss out on the updates. Look at me fucking out. Oh, Benny Hill. Good evening, viewers. Give us a sub, give us a thumbs up, it makes a huge difference. Check out all the bump in the description below. You've made it this far, go and have a quick read, like, yeah? And see all my friends and everything there. And my merchandise, the Ralfy Customs merchandise. So, just leaves me as always, after all that shit, to thank you for watching. And I'll catch you on the next one. Big love, everyone.